Greetings and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be having a look at the larger battles again, continuing our theme from the previous video. We're also going to be looking at the plasma versus artillery battleships again, but on a larger scale. So we've got our plasma battleship here, Giga Cannon with all plasma weapons, the line combat computer, standard systems here. One shield, all armor with the nanite repair system. So that's our choice to try and boost our armor regen and try and make these ships more survivable. Opposing us, we've got the artillery battleship. The artillery's got the tachyon lance with all kinetic artillery. We're going with artillery combat computer for the first battle to see how it goes, with the larger numbers of ships, to see if more artillery fleets and more tachyon lancers would change the outcome of the battle. All armor with one shield. We've got one auxiliary fire control, as the line combat computer gives 20% chance to hit, which will take us to 95%, and the extra 5 should take us to 100% for the artillery. And well, the tachyon lancer already bet 100 because a bit of overkill there. Advanced afterburners give us a bit of speed to see if we can stay at range and maybe kite these ships a little bit, giving us a little bit more time to fire our weapons. So we'll see how this battle plans out. We just want to see how more fleets react to each other in a large fight and see how it goes. And then we'll progressively add other ships to the fight and we'll see how that changes the dynamics. Let's find out. Tachyon lancers and the Giga Cannons firing. A bit harder to keep track of the actual losses. They've lost some here. Just focused, as you can see, they've got 35 each. They're already down to 28, 34, 29. Let's just have a look at the opening salvos. This is the artillery battleship fleet. The tachyon lancers have done 94 damage to hull. The kinetic artillery's done 32,000 damage. Large plasma's done 11,000. Giga cannon 3,000. Only 1,000 medium plasma. So they're not failing to get through to the hull at the moment with the plasma fleet. So that's why they haven't taken as many losses at the moment. That tachyon lance has just done a lot. And then we look at the shield damage. Giga cannon, you can see, yeah, they're really smashing the shields hard. Plasma is struggling to get through the shields at the moment until the Giga Cannon can get those shields down. I was looking at armor, sorry. That was the armor. And then shields. Yeah, 346,000 damage. I was wondering why it was only 74% efficient. It's 150% efficient there, so doing a lot of damage. You can see there, their fleets. This fleet's shields are gone. Armor's nearly gone. They're still working on that fleet, so they're focusing on that fleet first, whereas these fleets have still got their shields and armor generally intact. Accuracy 99 versus 80%. The kinetic artillery is only firing at 80% because of the artillery combat computer. You can see they're trying to keep range. All the plasmas keep coming in. Battle is now starting to swing this guy's favor, but still pretty close. Oh, this fleet's still got 100k. Right, now let's have a look at the damage now and see how it swung. The damage to hull, tachyon lance is still 100,000, 75,000 kinetic, versus the Giga Cannon now is nearly 150,000. Large plasmas over 100,000, medium plasma 80,000. So they're up to 250, nearly 270. And they're only at 175-ish in actual damage to the hull. So that's where the plasma now in the line combat computer is. We can see the damage hit ratio difference between the line combat computer and the artillery combat computer. And that's what's changing this battle. One fleet's already retreated. We've got plenty of ships left. They're just chasing them down. Still well within range here. The plasmas are still firing off. They just can't escape. All right, and that's a big victory. Retreated fleet there. And that was a retreated fleet there as well. So we can see in the total cost to reinforce is 90,000 alloys. And the actual ship losses, what did we lose? So we lost that 22. We lost quite a lot there. 31. That's 53. And another 22. That's 75 battleships. Out of, what was that? 70, 105. So still quite a lot of losses. And we'll have a look at the other side. Because we're in combat, is it? Ah, yeah, we're in combat. I can't switch at the moment to find out their losses because it's in a war situation. Yeah. All right, but we saw that they lost the majority of their fleet anyway. So with the line combat computer, the plasma and giga cannon is just too effective with artillery. So let's try that fight again, but we'll change the artillery to line combat computer, and we should get a different result if it replicates the single fleet engagements. Okay, for this second battle, we've got our same plasma fleet, line combat computer, all plasma, giga cannon, armor, mostly armor, one shield, bring the night repair. So no changes at all to that fleet. For our opposing fleet, our artillery battleships, we've changed it to line combat computer for all fleets. Everything else remains the same. So we should get chance to hit plus 20, chance to hit plus 5 from auxiliary fire control, bringing our accuracy from 75 to 100%. So we should see greater accuracy, and the tachyon lance should be hitting for 100% as well. There's more than enough there to do that. I think I said in the previous battle, I think I got line and artillery computer mixed up, increasing accuracy tachyon lance. So you can just ignore that. So let's jump in and see if there's any difference in how these larger fleets play out compared to the singular fleets. Yeah, these opening salvos go, the damage difference. Go opening salvos, firing away. Let's see the damage difference. The tachyon lance hit for 16,000 so far, direct to the hull. 4,000 kinetic artillery. And there's no damage to the hull on this side yet. So you can see the opening salvo. So it looks like 2, 1. So only 3 ships so far. A couple more ships now gone. Now the kinetic batteries are opened up. You can see this side is already getting less damage compared to this side. These ships are well down at the moment. Now that they merge, let's just pause, look at the damage now. The tachyon lance is at 125,000, kinetic artillery 22 versus large plasma 32, 22 for the giga cannon, and 9,000. So that's what, 54. 63,000 versus nearly 150 there, 145. That's damage direct to the hull. They're focusing down that fleet. Just pause here, look at the numbers. So this fleet's copped a absolute hiding. It's nearly done. These fleets are still doing all right, starting to cop damage now. Lost shields, lost half their armor. Nearly shields are gone. All the shields are gone here now, and they've lost a lot of their armor as well. And they're looking pretty sick. Lost a fair bit of hull points there. This fleet's also been focus fired down. That's good to see. Watch like how they tend to focus on one fleet each, really do a lot of damage. Or these ones have suffered damage too. But you can see that the how they've focus fire down these fleets. We can see here this battle is going the artillery's way. Just about over now. That was a retreated fleet. Just let it play out. Another fleet down. There we go. Let's see. We can go back to the winning side. So that's what remains of this fleet. So that was significantly better. There's still a significant part of that fleet you could push the offensive. So the line combat computer artillery, even in when it's multiple fleets, flips the entire script, resulting in a large victory for this side. Let's just have a look at the total reinforced. So 61,000 alloys to reinforce all these fleets. And what did we lost? We lost 5 battleships there. We lost 10, 15, and 21. So what's that? 36 or so battleships. That's a lot better than the previous result. The other side, the plasma with its 3 ships lost, what was it, about 90 odd battleships? No, 70 battleships. So that's a good result for the artillery battleships using the line combat computer. And we know how to counter this. We can, with our other battleship build, with going down the ancient saturator cannon, adding in all armor, and countering it that way. So the artillery works well when it's battleship versus battleship. But what would happen if we added a fleet of torpedo cruisers into the mix in this type of engagement? Okay, so for this fight, we've got our same 2 opposing battleship fleets. We've got our plasma battleships, which are unchanged, no changes whatsoever. We have 2 fleets of 35 of them. I've taken out 1 fleet of battleships and put in the same fleet capacity, 280, as each of the battleship fleets were. I've changed it for cruisers. We've added in cruisers with devastator torpedoes and disruptors for some close range firepower, because these guys are going to be getting in nice and close to do their destruction. Torpedo combat computers, all armor, 1 shield like it was before. Afterburners, so we can really get in there and use our speed and hopefully get in there and crush the enemy. We'll probably tank more of the hits as well from the other battleships, because we'll be out in front, closing the distance as quick as we can. So I guess we'll see how many of these cruisers actually make it the close range. Maybe this fleet will completely destroy those cruisers. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. We did have a little bit of invasion, 27.2%. And this fleet is unchanged from the previous battle, but I'll show you anyway. The design of this ship is the same: artillery, tachyon lance, line combat computers, armor, shields, auxiliary fire control, and afterburners. So we'll see. Probably afterburners. We'd probably change that out for something else actually, but we'll leave it as it is. So we'll see if the accuracy and firepower of this fleet can destroy that fleet of cruisers before it gets close enough to do its damage, and then it'll have the advantage in dealing with the other battleship fleets, or if the cruisers get too close and just absolutely wreck them. We'll have to find out. There we go. Cruisers are racing out in front now. We'll see how they go against the tachyon lancers, obliterating them. Okay, they've lost 4, 8, 10, 11. Let's just pause there for a second. For the opening salvos, the tachyon lance did 35,000 damage. I think it's 14,000. So that's the opening salvos did 60,000 damage against the battleships. So it wasn't as effective, probably due to the cruisers' lower overall hull points and armor, so that probably the tachyon lancers were overkilling. And there's not much damage there yet. So now we'll see how the devastator torpedoes do as a close range. We've got 58 cruisers remaining. Now they should be firing away. We'll see there. There you go. Torpedoes went away then. Some missed by the look of it. Not that many went down, to be honest. Thought it'd be a more effective opening blow than that. But now the battleships are closing. It actually lost quite a few there as well. They seem to be focusing fire, the battleship fleet again, leaving the torpedo fleet alone. Just pause here, see what's going on. So they're pretty much ignoring the cruisers. And they're going after the battleships. You can see the battleships are just about spent. These fleets are still well in the flight. So the Devastator torpedoes are just not doing enough damage at the moment. There's just not enough of them. We'll see if that changes. Battleships are done. The battleships are out. Now they're focusing the cruisers. Let's just see how much damage the Devastator torpedoes are actually doing. They are doing a lot of damage to the hull. 118,000 there. And over 400,000 damage to the armor. So they are doing a lot of damage, but there's just not enough of them. That was the retreated fleet. They retreated. There was 25 of them left a second ago. So you can see there that this fleet has done pretty well. It was a little bit more effective if we have a look at the damage. The losses, 68,000 to reinforce. They lost a few more ships than the previous battle when it was just all the plasma. But I must admit, I'm surprised that the Devastator torpedoes were not as effective. So that's a big tick for the line battleships. They faced off against 70 cruisers with Devastator torpedoes and won the day quite convincingly. So that was, yeah, that is very interesting. It was interesting that they didn't focus fire the cruisers, torpedo cruisers. They still went after the battleships. So there must be some calculations there that they viewed the battleships as a greater threat, perhaps with the X-Lot weapons. So that is a surprise. Okay, we'll move on to the next battle. Okay, for this fight, what I've done is I've added in a fleet of corvettes to each side. So the corvettes, there's 280 corvettes each, 3 disruptors each, 2 armor, 1 shield, 1 afterburner, swarm computers. And for the other side, it's the same. There's no changes in the other fleet. This fleet still has the 70 torpedo cruisers, 2 fleets of battleships. This fleet has just 3 fleets of battleships and now the corvettes. I want to see how adding in screening ships changes the battle outcome, if it changes it at all. You can see this. They're exactly the same fleet designs. No difference in it whatsoever. So let's see how this one plays out, to see if the corvettes completely change the battle outcome or if there's no change whatsoever, that they just neutralize each other effectively. Corvettes racing out in front. We could see there that some of the tachyon lance shots went for the corvettes. We can see here the battleships have taken no losses at all. So the corvettes and the cruisers have lost 9 cruisers. They started 70. 280s lost 17. They've effectively tanked a lot of the tachyon lance shots. You can see some of the remaining tachyon lance shots there. So these screening ships have saved the battleships. Opposingly, same sort of result. The corvettes have absorbed a lot of that damage. So you could say the corvettes are very effective at being screening ships, as they've taken the bulk of the damage from the X-Lot weapons to start with. Now the 2 sides have merged. We can see the cruisers are getting stuck there, but now they're going for the battleships. And we can see there that the cruisers trying to fight their way through, because remember the cruisers do have disruptors, which really hurt the corvettes on this side. You can see there's over 100 losses different So that's actually that's very effective actually, because probably this fleet has more smaller slot weapons because of the cruisers and the torpedoes, so they might very well have the advantage there. Starting to get some battleship losses now on this fleet. And any losses here? No losses yet for this side. Actions. Still plenty of cruisers left. Now they're getting into the battleships to see if they start doing much damage, because these guys are losing battleships at a rapid rate now that the two sides are merging. Corvettes are dropping away. Still plenty of cruisers in the fight. So you can see here that shields are nearly down, armors down. Like you can see a lot of hull points. They're taking a lot of disruptor fire, these battleships. Still that's nearly spent 7.2k. So a lot of those ships have retreated versus these guys, and that's going to do a lot of damage to the battleships now. So these battleships are almost spent as well. So these battleships continued to focus on these battleships. They're really going after them in every battle. Seems like the Tachyon Lance is doing a great deal of damage. Yeah, 235,000 versus the Devastator Torpedo. Well, that's probably due to some retreated fleets now. They actually lost the retreated fleet yet? No, they haven't actually. That one's down to 20. 116 corvettes. 32, so they've suffered nearly no losses. Except for probably some retreats, and same with that. So we've got nearly 2 full battleship fleets, at least heavily undamaged, versus the corvettes. And what's left of our cruisers? Where are they? There. They're still there. They're still in the fight. Corvettes could be the deciding factor actually in this. High war exhaustion already. Alright, let's have a look. So we've got the corvettes. Corvettes, they're nearly done. They're nearly done as well. The cruisers are nearly spent. The difficulty this fleet will have now is they don't have a lot to deal with the corvettes. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with it with their big slot weapons, actually. These corvettes are just about done. Now they're just swarming. Melting those battleships now. Some retreated fleets here. I think this was the only true fleet left. You can see without any small slot weapons, these battleships are going to lose. Now we'll just speed this up a bit. Yeah, they melted it pretty quick. Those corvettes were extremely resilient. These are just retreated fleets, but we'll let them finish it off. There we go. So the corvettes really turned that battle, but I actually think the key ingredient was the cruisers with the disruptors, because that meant their opposing corvette fleet, when the two sides merged, just got hammered. So there's the fleet with, I guess, cruisers are a type of screening ship for the battleships. The fleet with the more screening ships won in that instance, because the other side ran out of screening ships. That's basically the difference. The corvettes just swarmed the enemy in the end and overpowered them. The Devastator torpedoes they just don't seem to be doing enough damage. I wonder if the multiplicative damage is actually being applied, because it just doesn't seem to be doing as much damage. Although I guess it was up over 500,000 odd damage in the last battle. It's just, I guess those battleships, having 3 battleship fleets, just has too many hit points for those one fleet of cruisers to be that effective. You can see how important having cruisers or screening ships, corvettes and cruisers is in engagement. Now I wanted to try a little bit type of battle, just to show how important having a screening fleet like this is. how it can change the outcome of a battle. Okay, for this engagement, what we've done is I've got rid of the torpedo cruisers in this fleet. It's just 3 fleets of battleships. Fuel battleships, the plasma battleship design with flying combat computers. Same design we've been using. So there's no changes at all for that. Just 3 fleets of battleships. We're just going with 1 fleet of corvettes because I want to show off to see how effective having 1 fleet of screening ships is with 3 battleship fleets supporting it versus the opposing side, which has 4 fleets of battleships but no screening ships. So if you're the type of player that just loves to use, in the end game, lots of battleships firing away, maybe some cruisers at long range firing away torpedoes and stuff. You don't like to use screening ships and small ships, then we'll see how effective that goes against an opponent that has less battleships than you. So it's outgunned in firepower significantly, a lot less X-slot weapons, but they have a lot of screening ships to screen their fleet. And to just do a comparison between a fleet that has more firepower, a lot more bigger ships versus a fleet that has less firepower, less larger ships, but more smaller ships, a fleet to actually screen them. And we'll see how this battle turns out.
Hostiles engaged.
See now they're all engaging the corvettes. See that? Tachyon lancers all fired at the corvettes and they tanked the shots. See there, they lost, well, they started with 280, so they lost about 35 corvettes already. Fleets are undamaged so far. So the X-slot weapons have not fired yet. The Giga cannons have not fired yet. Should be firing now. Can't see the animations actually. Now the battleships are charging through. They're going after these battleship fleets. The corvettes are engaging these battleships. So it does seem that once they've closed range, these battleships are targeting the opposing fleet. They are doing some damage to the corvettes. Have a look at total damage here. So disruptors, large plasmas, Giga cannon. The plasmas are actually doing the damage in the small disruptors on the corvettes that have expected. And obviously Tachyon Lance is doing a lot of damage there in the Canadian turret. There's only 200,000 versus, yeah, it's probably about 100,000 really. Maybe a bit over 100,000. So the definitely Tachyon Lancers are in front there, but we'll see how this pans out. These guys got a lot of disruptors firing on them now. Still, they're doing pretty well. These guys are taking absolute hammering, to be honest. Okay, so the battleships have all been spent. So this fleet has done a good job at getting rid of the opposing battleship fleets. They've lost 20, 40 battleships themselves, 3, 7, 10. So they've lost 50 battleships to kill the opposing battleships. But this fleet's down 70 corvettes now. And this fleet probably now has little defenses actually take out these corvettes. They are taking some damage. We might be able to whittle them down. Oh, one fleet jumped out, said they had enough of this. It's surprising, actually. You can see there how effective the corvettes are. They're just cleaning them up pretty quickly, and that's the retreated fleet, so we won't bother continuing with that. So both sides pretty much lost the bulk of their battleships, and the corvettes prevailed. And that's the difference between having the screening ships. The screening ships are able to take that opening alpha shot But then it was still 4 battleship fleets firing on 3 battleship fleets. Obviously, the other battleship fleets took a pounding. Probably the ideal fight would be to keep those plasma ships further away. This works quite effectively when you're doing an artillery build, and I'd like to see the difference in that, to be honest. I might increase the fleet size a little bit too for our final battle for this video. All right, for this final battle in this session, we've got 12 fleets versus 12 fleets. This fleet is just 12 fleets of pure battleships, the artillery battleships, which we've been using quite effectively on the opposing side, although they've lost a few battles against some screening ships. You've got tachyon lance, all artillery, line combat computer, armor, shields, auxiliary fire control, and some afterburners. So same design, and we've got 12 of them. So there's a lot of firepower there. It's probably, I don't know, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8 million fleet power there. And opposing them, we have 8 fleets of battleships versus 1, 2, 3, 4 fleets of corvettes. We'll just show them. So the corvettes are the same we had last time. All disruptors, swarm computer, afterburners, 2 shields, 2 armor, 1 shield. And we have 4 fleets of them. So they're going to charge in and they're going to screen our battleship fleets. We have 8 battleship fleets, but we've made them artillery, all artillery, tachyon lance. So it's like very similar to the other battleship fleet, except it's line combat computer. This is artillery combat computer. And this is typically how I tend to fight my later game battles. I'll have my artillery ships at the back, like this, and my corvettes will stream forward. I have like about 4 or 5 of these fleets screening my main fleet, and it may be a lot more ships than this. I'll probably have 20 or 30 fleets back here of battleships and cruisers. Some of the cruisers have torpedoes and charge forward as well, and some will have long range torpedoes. So this is just an example of how I like to fight in the later game, and we'll see how this pans out with the battleship staying at the rear, the corvettes charging forward. See how this battle turns out. You can see all the corvettes streaming forward.
We're under attack. Time to dance.
All the alpha shot is focused on the corvettes. So we can see there the damage, which is who's who. So that's a tachyon lance. They've done 75,000 damage, and Canadian artillery's only done 7,000. This is the tachyon lance on this side. Who is who? That's our side. That's our fleet here. This is the opposing fleet. So this tachyon lance that did 58,000 damage, a lot of it was probably due to the evasion of these corvettes missed, while this one did 75,000 damage. So nearly 20,000 damage difference there at opening shot. You can see there the giga cannons, everything firing. Tachyon lance, not the giga cannons, artillery, sorry. The tachyon lances on both sides firing. You can see here corvettes are just swarming now the enemy fleet, and they will constantly harass the enemy and draw some of their fire. But you see they are taking losses. Let's have a look. So they are taking some losses, not this fleet. This fleet is taking down about 100 corvettes. But some of the firepower is being directed at the corvettes. Let's look at the accuracy, right? Because I'm using corvettes, this fleet is down to 70% accuracy because their weapons are trying to target these high evasion ships, while my accuracy is up at 97%. And my damage output is more effective than what their damage output is, even though they may have more battleships and do overall more damage. Now, as you can see, their small face disruptors have done 261,000 damage, tachyon lance 196,000, Canadian artillery 61. What's that? That's about 455. What's that? 45. So it's about 515,000. And they're still out DPSing us directly. Not by a great deal. It's by about 50,000 points. I guess it's still considerable. But let's see how keeps panning out, because I think as the longer the battle goes on, the more this side has the advantage. And you can see that accuracy is starting to creep up now as they're targeting more of the battleships. You can just see they're constantly getting harassed. Look at these battleships that are just dying here. You can see the numbers. Just pause again. You can just see they're down to 163. They're not taking that many losses. You can see we've lost quite a few battleships. We're probably down to less than 50% strength in the battleships. Now, they've taken significant losses as well. Some of these fleets are nearly spent. Yeah. There are a lot of weak fleets there as well. A couple of bigger ones still remaining, but not many. The corvettes are really ripping into them now. You can see the battle really swinging back in this guy's favor, in the I guess the yellow team favor versus the red team. Look at the total damage output now. Yeah, we're well over 1 million there, and now they're below 1 million. They're probably about 800,000, bit over 800,000. We're well over 1 million now, and that's just because of the damage these corvettes are just doing constantly to these battleships. Their firepower is actually dropping away now to finish off this fleet. Just need to swarm to focus on these battleships. Just finishing them off now. This is just the dregs. There you go, it's all over. So you can see why I like to use a combination like this. You can see even the larger the battle seems to become, if you have an adequate number of screening ships, the better the result turns out to be. Only having one screening fleet with 4 battleship fleets wasn't enough. Even though we had 8 here for 4, so it seems to be two screening ships. Or 2 battleship fleets to 1 screening ship seems to be quite an effective number. That's what I've found. So we can see our losses here. Yeah, we've taken a lot of losses, but we held the day, whereas last time our battleships lost the fight. This time our screening ships were able to inflict enough damage to destroy the enemy a lot faster. And this is how I typically like to fight in the later game. I'll use my smaller ships like this, and you can see 3 of these fleets took barely any losses. They're only at 280, so he lost a handful of corvettes from 3 fleets. This fleet took the bulk of the losses. So in terms of corvettes, this is going to be pretty easy to replace. The battleships will take longer, but the opposing side's going to take a lot longer because they lost pretty much every battleship they had. You can see why this is so effective build. And it's similar if someone coming at you with, for example, carrier battleships. All you do is just split these designs into, take one disruptor out and you put flak in there. And if someone's using a mix of missiles, torpedoes, strike craft, then you have these corvettes, half of them in PD, half in flak. And that's typically what I do in my designs. And then they're swarming around the enemy fleet. And as the strike craft are launching, the corvettes are killing them. As the missiles are launching, the corvettes are killing them. They're intercepting them. As the torpedoes are being fired, if they can be intercepted, they're firing at them to intercept them. So they're really reducing that overall firepower if someone uses those type of fleets against you. These guys will just absolutely slaughter those type of fleets. So just wanted to show how effective having those screening ships like corvettes is. Don't neglect them in your battle. It's very effective against AI, very effective against human players. The only way to really counter this is to use corvettes of your own, and you'll see it in some of the high-end PvP games. People will be using corvettes similar to this in various fashions to screen their main fleets, to try and engage the enemy, try and get them from jumping away. Because if you've got a few corvette fleets, they can race out, catch the enemy before they can run away, engage them, and then your battleships move in. So, but you've already caught them in the snare. You might lose a few more corvettes, but they're not going to get away. But that's the other benefit of having a lot of corvettes. So give me some comments, give me your feedback on what you thought of these battles, and I can do a lot more battles now and test out the nearly endless possible combinations of fleet combinations and weapons that we can do. That'll be quite interesting probably over the next few weeks and months, but it does take a lot of time to make these videos. Actually, it's a lot of effort, to be honest, with doing these big battles all the time, but I'll keep doing them because I know you guys like them. Right, bye for now.